Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining in. Maybe we'll just give 1 more minute before we get started. I hope you all can hear me all right. All right, I think we will get started. Good afternoon, good evening, or good morning to everyone based on whichever location or whichever time zone you are joining in. So thank you for your time. And today we are going to be discussing one of very important and critical aspect of the network operations, that is service qualification. And I also hope that you are able to see the screen that I have put on the slide that I have put on, so you can see that. So the title of our webinar today is Qualify Accurately and Sell Faster with Lepton Smart Service Qualification. So as I said, that our today's topic is service qualification or the network service qualification. Now, this one, as we also call lead qualification or the service feasibility, that this is one of the most critical aspect of the network operations, and this is what probably is the distinguishing factor between the customer onboarding or losing a customer, upselling to a customer, or having a customer churn. So that is that is the importance of the service qualification. A quick introduction. My name is Kshemendra Chaturvedi. I am product head of network access product for Lepton Software. I am joined by Harshit Singhal. Harshit is our sales lead and pre-sales lead. So the topics that we are going to discuss today. First of all, a quick check. I hope you are all able to hear me all right. Somebody can confirm. Maybe Amit or Harshit, you can confirm you hear me all right. Okay, Harshit tells me that he can hear me. So good. We'll go on. So service qualification, what and why? We'll talk about what is service qualification and why it is so important. And then we also speak about briefly that what are the challenges that we face in service qualification, how technology comes as an enabler for us to actually resolve this puzzle or address this problem statement, and the key aspect of a service qualification system, how a good modern qualification system should be built, what are the various layers of that, and how the standards and APIs come to the help. And then we will also have a quick demo of Lepton Smart Service Qualification System. Now, talking about what and why of service qualification. So as you know, the title says that your customer's digital journey, it all begins with an inquiry. The inquiry can be a simple phone call, it can be on your on the website, self-care portal, or the mobile app. It could be a simple search over the mobile app that I'm here. So that triggers the customer's digital journey with you. And as a service provider or as a telco or as a fiber provider, you are faced with many questions from the customer. And there are different types of, like, if it is simple end consumer, you get a question, okay, can I get a high-speed internet connection in my area, right? Or I want to upgrade my connection. Do you have the coverage at my location? What is the signal strength, right? What's the bandwidth that I can get? Those kind of questions. Or if you are a infrastructure provider, then you get the questions like, okay, I want to lease a dark fiber, right? Can you give me the dark fiber? I want to lease the fiber, or I want to fiberize my mobile tower. Those kind of questions. Or if you are an enterprise service provider, then you get the questions like, I want to connect my 2 data centers, or I want to connect my satellite offices. And based on these questions, the question that you ask internally to your network teams is, do I have the resources? Do I have the required network infrastructure? If not, then is it upcoming? Is it already planned? How much is the cost if I have to connect to this customer? Where, how far is my nearest network, right? What are the options available with me? So these are the questions that you ask yourself, and your ability to provide the accurate and quick and precise answers to these questions is what basically distinguishes you, what sets the pitch for you to really grow in your customer onboarding and to increase your revenue and business. Otherwise, yeah, you just, chances are that you can struggle. I'll probably give my own example. As I shifted some time ago to a new city and I wanted a broadband connection, I just logged into the portal of one of the leading telcos in India and checked my address. So it was showing that in your area 2 Mbps of 2 Mbps of bandwidth is available. So I said, wow, 2 Mbps. I mean, who gives 2 Mbps nowadays? So I gave a call. The customer care guy says, no, sir, that probably the system is old or it's showing some old data. We can give you 100 Mbps. So that is the difference between, your ability to answer the question precisely and quickly. Otherwise, that differentiates between a customer onboarded and a customer gone, right? So that's the important of service qualification. So now let's talk that, okay, if it is so important, that actually what are the challenges? Why we are not able to do the qualification very precisely and accurately? What stops us from doing so? So very first one is lack of accurate data. The example that I gave, right, that's a very good example of how the lack of an accurate data or accessibility of the data to the on the portal or to the customer care, how that lack of the data can actually make all the difference in qualification, right? So and the data could be a lot. It could be inventory data, or it could be the network data. A lot of it can be the right kind of address data. So all that kind of data, right? And then nowadays, given this whole pandemic scenarios and all kind of restrictions, surveys have become very difficult. You don't want to send a person, he takes 2 days to survey and then come back with the report. So surveys are not helping either. They add to the challenge. And then, given the scenario today, you are expected to provide the immediate answers. Nobody has time. If you ask your customer to give you 2 days of time, or you tell him that I'll come back to you. Meanwhile, in the meantime, customer is already gone. He's already onboarded to somebody else. So you don't have that much of time. And with the time, service landscape is becoming increasingly complex. You started, with a legacy of copper and coaxial and Ethernet. You moved on to the fiber, 2G, 3G, 4G, and now moving 5G. So the service landscape, the network landscape is becoming more and more complex. And then, of course, top it up, it's no more a monopoly, duopoly kind of scenario. You have hundreds of service providers because consumers have a lot of options. There is very high competition, high churn rate, and you are expected to be performing at the peak of your operational levels to onboard and sustain the customers. So all in all, the whole message out of this is that service qualification is important and it's not easy. So what do we do about it? So let us see what are the, how technology comes to help, right? What we can do with the available cutting edge technology to help us resolving these challenges. So let's see the technology landscape. Starting from the top right, very first one is the network models. The network models are there. We have a lot of inventory management system. We have modeling techniques which can very precisely model your network. They can model all kinds of network. They can model legacy network, the latest and the cutting edge like 5G networks. The whole modeling is available. And now modeling is not sufficient. Even the techniques or the technology to do the real-time replica, that is available. You have the real-time replica. You have the right kind of connectivity, you have the right kind of apps, you have the right kind of integration mechanism available to actually replicate the status so that your call center agents or the portals, every system has the most up-to-date data. Otherwise, you just struggle with the legacy data in the example that I gave to you. And the integrated ecosystem, now the integrations are available. You make available this data. It's not just lying there somewhere in your data centers. It is available to your CRM, to your Salesforce, SAP, on your portal. So whole lot of integrated ecosystem is now available. And then we have got the APIs, we have got the standards. The whole TM forum standard has been built. The service qualification and the order management has been very thoughtfully incorporated. So you have the standards and APIs available that you can use to build and incorporate and roll out your systems for the service qualification. And not only that, I think some of the really the latest and the cutting edge technology with respect to 3D infra modeling, because as you move on to more and more contemporary networks like 5G, right, 2D modeling is no more sufficient. You have to get into the 3D space. You have to get into the 4D of the time dimension. So those kind of data is available. You have the 3D infra available, so you can not only at that particular lat long or the location you qualify, but you also qualify the service at 20th floor of the building, right? Or at that much of altitude, or at that much of height at the building you can qualify. So those technologies are available. And then the desktop surveys, as we said, that survey happens to be a challenge. So you do the desktop survey. You have 360 degree imagery, you have street views, you have the network positions, you have many other technologies to do the desktop survey, incorporate the desktop surveys. So you avoid the field surveys, you cut down on time. And then all this with the help of digital technologies. There are no more legacy technologies. Very high performing cloud computing is available, LiDAR based imagery, AI and ML based algorithms, IoT based monitoring. So a whole lot of technology is backing you up to build the system, to build the most modern systems, to actually come up with a good service qualification systems, which is well equipped to address your networks, address your services, and answer all the questions. Moving onward, so we saw how the technology is there as a platform. Now let us very quickly, let us see what should be the typical components of a service qualification systems. And as I said in the previous slide, that availability of data, that happens to be a challenge. So obviously the very first one, the backbone or the foundation of that system is the map layer itself. And the map layer, and when it comes to data, actually, more is less nowadays. You have a whole lot of data available. You have online maps, you have offline maps, you have building maps, you have address, unified address layers you have got, and a whole lot of business related data that you can acquire and plot, demographic data, the lifestyle data, in whole gamut of data is available. Census layers are there, POIs, all those things are there, which actually you can incorporate in the system to come up with more and more precise answers to the questions. And then next level comes the physical inventory. Physical inventory is your network inventory, and that obviously, very obvious, it comprises of your end-to-end fiber networks, your all types of network layers. It can be 2G coverage, 3G, 4G, 5G coverages, as well as the newer technologies of LTE, WiMAX, copper, and coaxial kind of network. So entire physical inventory has to be available. And it is not only inventory, it is actually the utilization or the capacity data that also has to be there as part of your qualification networks. And then you get onto the product and the service layer. That layer will comprise of your product catalog, your service catalog, your services layer. It can be all kinds of B2C layer like broadband, IPTV, 4K TVs, those kind of services. Then it's a whole lot of B2B layers like VPNs, lease line, those kind of thing. You have dark fibers. So entire inventory is there, marketing campaigns, catalogs. So that service layer constitutes an important part of the service qualification system. And then you have got application and business logic. You want to address different types of requests coming to you. It can be just single request to connect one customer. It can be a bulk request to connect whole lot of customers in a particular area. Or it can be a request to actually connect the entire area, or the roll out your network into the area. So you are able to address the entire area, all the home passes in that particular area, right? And then there are various other things, like you want to calculate the ROI, you want to do the cost analysis, you want to do what's the shortest route or the most optimum route, what's the most time optimum route, what are the alternate options you have available. So whole lot of application and business logic that has to be there as part of your qualification system. And then the interface, right? There's no great deal of building this whole data repository and the business logic if you do not interface it with the right kind of media and the right kind of channels. You have the customer facing channels. They can be self-care portal, your mobile app, the digital experience platforms, the social media, video call centers and IVRs, all those interfaces you need. And the internal facing systems also, the CRM, Salesforce, you need to be able to provide the data visibility or the map visibility into those systems, so that your call center agents are able to actually assess the data and provide the answers then and there. They are able to make use of that decision making, which is available to them by means of that data. And then the process, right? What are the processes in which the whole qualification system gets embedded into? It is the customer order management, order to cash, request to change, activation, and even the network planning, which may not be very obvious, but network planning, the qualification plays a part in the network planning process as well. What kind of ROI, what kind of cost per customer, cost per port, those kind of things are there, based on which you do the network planning. So with this kind of qualification system, then we talk about, okay, how are the standards available to us to support us? So in the initial slides, I talked about the eTOM model. So here on the screen, this you see that level 2 of eTOM frameworks. This webinar is not supposed to be a tutorial on eTOM, but I will just in a minute I will touch upon that. That in the operations domain, right? That is where the order management and service qualification falls. Operations and in the fulfillment subdomain, right? It involves right from the market and sales business process, where you have the selling, you have the lead management and marketing campaign, and the request flows to your customer interaction management, and from there you have the order handling system, which does the order handling. And it also interfaces with the operational support and readiness system, where the resource management and resource readiness is done by the service qualification system. And once that readiness is done, it moves into the service provisioning. So within the operations domain, the whole process areas, different process areas are touched upon to actually fulfill this end-to-end qualification process. And on the same lines, basically TM Forum also provides a standard API for doing the service qualification to actually make the whole process and whole integration process a lot easier. So there are mainly two APIs available, which is about check service qualification, which helps you check the qualification for a particular customer or at a particular level, and returns whether that requested service is available at that location or not. And then there is another API as well, which is query service qualification, that returns that at that particular location, how many and what all services are available. So that is actually very useful, that you are able to return at a particular location what services, what packages, what products you can offer. So that is how the whole standardization comes to help us, comes to help in developing or implementing a good service qualification system. And while I'm speaking, please feel free to keep writing your questions, your comments and queries into the comment box. So having talked about what could be, or what is a right kind of service qualification system, what are the technology parameters, what are the layers, what are the components, we will briefly come to a quick introduction of Lepton Smart Service Qualification System. So we have got the system that basically provides almost all of the aspects that we talked about in last 15 minutes. It allows you to do the consumer service qualification. It has the ability to integrate with the physical and logical inventory systems of the customer, right? Or even it comes pre-integrated with Lepton's smart inventory as well, right? It supports consumer services, it supports enterprise services, then all kind of media. It can be fiber as well as wireless media, then single and bulk bulk requests, feasibility reports are there, and then about the estimated cost and return on investment for these for these feasibility, that how much cost it will take. It has the ability to integrate with your costing systems and give the various components of be it material cost, be it services cost, and the other parameters. And then, as we talked about, in the whole integration mechanism, it comes with the APIs to integrate within the systems of within the IT enterprise. And then the 3D support, which is vital for 5G qualification. It comes with the 3D support. It comes with the 3D support for the layers. So all these features are available. What I will do is probably, it's a good time to get into the demo, so that you can actually see the system live in action. We still got around 20 minutes, so it will be a good time to introduce you to our system. I will invite my colleague Harshit to give a quick introductory demo of the system to you.
Yeah, thanks, Sumit, and thanks for this wonderful presentation. Let me start the demo. So as you have told us that for the feasibility for the service qualification, so there can be various use cases by which we can confirm the feasibility, we can confirm the qualification of a service with respect to any location. So broadly, if I tell that feasibility, basically there can be of that can work on two types of network. Like if I talk about wireline network or wireless network. So for the wireline network as well, we can have the feasibility in which we want to check the service qualification for a enterprise domain or for an ISP domain where they want to lease a particular fiber segment to one of their potential customer. So for that, we need to check the feasibilities. So we will go quickly with all these cases so that we can see that how these things or the service qualifications can happen on different scenarios. So I hope my screen is visible to all. And in this, you can see that the service qualification platform basically components comes up with the base map. The base map is there so that the users can locate themselves, or they can locate the locations where they want to make the network feasible, or they want to qualify their presence. So to check this thing, let me just open up some network layers. You can see in the network layers, all the relevant network layers are there. Like we have the network inventory details that are already in place at this location. So I'm just making them enable so that I can able to see the presence of my existing network. In the on parallel to this, what I'll do that for the location for which I want to check the feasibility, I'll also make that location enable so that I will land up to that particular location only for which I want to make that connection feasible. So I have just enabled one of the layer. So on the map, you can see that I have just enabled the layer for the Maharashtra. That means that there is a case where service qualification need to happen for a network, for a segment that is on the basis of the presence of existing network. So uh, in this, the users can enter the location where they want to. They can enter the address, they can enter the let longs. So let me pick up one of the let longs so that I can land up to the desired location. So basically the end objective to have these let longs or the addresses is that the system, as Shimend just told, that these systems can be integrated with some external systems just like your CRM system or some mobile applications through which the Salesforce goes onto the field. They want to check the feasibility. So the systems can, those systems can directly have an input of the address so that quickly they can have the feasibility run onto their mobile phone so that the results can quickly be come to them and they can make, they can just confirm or affirm themselves that whether this location is feasible or not. So as you have seen that I have just entered the location, I'll get to know that this is the location where some of the presence of my existing network is already there. So my existing network is already there. So let's say I just want to check the feasibility for one of my customers. Let's say I just entered the customer ID. So basically the user will need to enter these basic details so that he can refer these feasibility results. The system will maintain the history. The system will record these results so that they can refer in future. So let's say I'm just writing the customer ID like this. Any feasibility ID, which I want to put up for the future reference. I just need to choose the start end location. I can also pick up from the point, or I can also provide the let long. So both the fields are, both the methods can be possible. So let me pick up the let longs. Let me just take up the let longs. This is start end, start point location. This is my longitude for my start location. Similarly, for my B end, let's say this is my end point. For that, I can pick up the let longs. This is, so basically these let longs we can get these things either via integration, if we are integrated with some of the external systems, so that these returns or the feasibility results can be returned in form of APIs, and the process can be happen in a quick manner. Now let's suppose that for these 2 points, if I just locate these points like this, let me quickly enter the let longs. Let's say if I just locate these points, like this is my start end, this is my end location, you can see I can also move these points to check or to check the feasibility, or to make the connections happen. Like to connect this start point with this end point, what should be my existing network, or what should be my existing path to with respect to my presence of my existing network, so that I should have lowest uh, bill of material, so that I can make utilize my existing network. I want to compute those results. I'll see. Let's say I just required 2 cores from my existing network. For a new built network, I will look at 4 fibers, and I'll compute the results. Once these analytics got completed, that means that if I'll get to know that for making these feasibility happens, like that how much I need to use as a new to construct this feasibility possible, or how much I can use of my existing network. If you just check the legends, you can easily see that the sum of the part of the network has turned its color. That means that it has turned into the green color. Let me just switch off few of the layers so that you can have better understanding. Yeah. So here you can see that to connect the start point and the end point, so this is the shortest path that must be available into the system or on the road, through which the feasibility can happen and the system can make use of this existing network. All the network that you can see into this green color, that means that this is the existing network. I don't need to lay down a new network to make this happen. The system will return me all the feasibility results, that whether it is partially feasible or fully feasible. These results are basically depends on the configuration rules that I have done to in the system, so that with respect to my business case, I can easily say that what can be the fully feasible, or what can be the partially feasible or not feasible. And you can see that it has also returned me various results, like what is the total length of this connectivity from start to end point, that is 3.32 kilometers. How much is in inside plant, that means that what is the length of the network that is already there. So it is 2.50, and it's a big number, that out of 3.32, the 2.50 is still present into the ground, and I don't need to lay down as a new. And this is the number that I just need to lay down as a new. So those analytics, those results can be seen graphically, as well as they can be downloaded in form of reports. If I just go and check the reports, that what are the reports that I can get from these results. So we can have the complete bill of material. If I just download any bill of material, then I can get the BOM details or the BOQ details, that what will be the cost and on what will the service cost. You can see that 817 meters is the length of the cable that I just need to lay down as a new to have the end-to-end connectivity of my 3.32 kilometer network. And this is the cable type that needs to be laid down. This is being input by the user. This is the material price. This is the service price. This is the total cost of the connectivity, and this is the total service cost. So basically, with respect to each and every use cases or business case, these costs, service costs, or the material costs can be configured so that system will calculate these total cost on the basis of the per unit value that is being added by the or configured by the field user or the user of this application. So that's how this complete bomb box can be seen. If I want to check the feasibility result or I want to download the feasibility reports so that I can have the idea that how much, what is the utilization of my existing network that is going to be used. So in this, I'll get to know the summary of my complete feasibility results, like what is the start location, what is the end location, what are the let logs, how much is the total length of the connectivity, what is inside plan. These results can be seen. And to check the utilization of my existing network, I can easily see that these are the segments of the cable that are going to be used to make this connectivity happen. This is my existing network. The status of this network is planned stage. This is the total course availability that are available into this complete segment, and what is the length of this complete segment. So this is how I'll get to know the utilization of my existing network. So this all this can be done and can be seen to lease. The use case can be that if we want to lease out a particular chunk of the fiber, so we can just check that how much or with what BOM or BOQ we can just lease out that particular network to my one of the potential customer. So this is basically for the third party vendors who can estimate their capacity or who can estimate their network, or so that they can be leased out to some of the potential customers. So that's how there can be various use cases that can happen with this feasibility, and these analytics can be derived. So quickly we can go to the next use case in which we can have the last mile connectivity. If I talk about last mile connectivity, so for the last mile connectivity, this will be helpful in determining that what should be my nearest access point. Suppose I have got a customer latitude, longitude, or customer address. Customer address from the from the CRM application or from the field user, that whether he want to, while he's on the ground and he want to see that whether the new customer that wants a service connection from the existing operator, that whether he is feasible or not. So what he can do is that he can simply pass on the lat longs to our system. Let's say now the lat longs can be passed on, the address can be passed on. We can just, these address can be stored or can be searched on onto this platform. So let me pick up a lat long like this. I'm just using the same lat longs. So it will query my inventory manager to capture the details of the existing network. You can see that in the backend, this is my existing network that is already there. You can see that in the backend, the net presence of my network is. And if I just want to check the feasibility, so what system will do, that it will just give me the location of my existing nearest DP points or nearest splitter locations that are required to be served from this customer. So basically we can shift this location as well. If I want to shift this location, I can just simply drag this or pull this to that any other desired location for where I want to pull up this or plot this customer location. Let's say this is the customer location that I have pulled down. Now I want to check the presence of my nearest access point. If I just check, then in the layers, you can easily see that there are various entities through which I can check the feasibility results. I can increase or decrease the buffer area so that I can have the results of those entities that are near to this particular potential customer location. Let's say I want to check for the nearest primary splitter or secondary splitter that lie with this customer location. So I'll get the results in the ascending order on the basis of the connectivity, that what is the nearest access point to this potential customer location. If I just select this, then I'll get to know. You can see onto the map that I'll get to know that what is the total route distance, like from the customer location to the nearest access point, that it is 300 meters. So this, and what should be the road? You can see that this is the road that is highlighted and it is going to this S1 location. Along with this, the BOM report that what how much is the fiber distance or the road through which the connectivity can happen. It will also give me the results with respect to the utilization of that nearest access point. That how many ports are there. You can see that there are 8 ports. How many ports are utilized? So you can see 3 ports are utilized. If we have an input that how many ports got faulty, if we have input from the field users or from other systems that out of 8 ports some ports are faulty, so faulty port details can also be seen. And what is the current utilization of this GP point, so that the field engineer can plan their actions or can plan the port capacity of my DP through which I want to through a connection. So these results can be seen. Similarly, if I want to check that whether suppose with the respect to the real time scenario, these things are not, this connectivity through this splitter is not feasible. So if I want to check with some other splitter, so again I can do those things. It will just give me results with respect to my second splitter. This is the secondary splitter. It is showing, and it is giving the ID. It is giving the utilization level. Like out of 8, it is 5 ports that are utilized. It is 62% utilized. So that sort of feasibility results can be seen. And the user can also check the complete details of that network elements, like what is the ID, asset ID, or the customer count, how many customers are running onto it. So those complete details or complete analytics with respect to the last mile connectivity can be seen over here. So these are the 2 use cases for the wireline feasibility.
Thank you, Harshit. Thank you,
Yeah.
Harshit. Thank you for the demo. I think it has given a good insights into the system, because we are just left with few minutes. So I would like to take a couple of questions that have come. So very first question is about okay, how do we do 5G service qualification? So I think that's a very pertinent question, because 5G being now more and more gaining more and more ground all over the world. So that's very important that service qualification systems are well equipped to cater to 5G. So I would say that there are 2 or 3 things that service qualification system must provide. Number one, ability to incorporate the 5G coverage. And when we talk about 5G coverage, it is always 3D coverage. That means it is height incorporated coverage. That the coverage that you get at 10 meters is certainly different at what you get at at 15 and different than what you get at 20. So ability to incorporate 5G coverage, ability to incorporate the building floors, and then ability to check that within each of those building floor and the height, what kind of coverage and signal strength is getting. That is how a right kind of 5G qualification will be done. And another aspect of 5G qualification, which is more for infra providers, is the availability of fiber network near the towers, 5G towers. Because you have the 5G towers, you want to fiberize them. So having a system which can actually tell that how far is the fiber from the small cell, and in other ways can give you a plan to connect all the small cells by fiber in a particular area. That is how it can it can actually help perform the 5G qualification. Then one more question that we have got is about the TM Forum APIs. What are the format of these APIs? And so these are all REST APIs. So REST APIs and Java clients are available for these APIs. So they are well documented APIs that can be done. All right. And then there is a qualification, and then there's another qualification question about the wireless qualification. What kind of wireless network qualifications are there? So there are primarily two kind of wireless network qualification. One is point to point, which you check the qualification by a microwave link, provisioning a customer on microwave link, and you check the line of sight, that incorporating the altitude data and the digital terrain model, the height of the building, that at what height you are getting the microwave clear line of sight. That is one. And then other one is point to multi-point, which is about the RF coverage, that checking at a particular customer location what kind of coverage is available, what is the signal strength, and what is the bandwidth that we are getting. So with that, I think, yeah, with that we are towards the end of the questions. I don't see any questions. If there are any more questions anybody wants to shoot, please feel free. And otherwise, I think we are almost at the top of the hour. So I would like to now once again thank each one of you for your time. I hope you found this session insightful and useful, and those of you anyway will be sharing the the link, the recording, so that you can go through it if required. There is also a white paper coming up that we will be sharing with you, and of course we'll reach out. If there are any further queries, you can reach out to us directly, and we'll be happy to answer. With that, I thank you once again. Have a good day, each one of you, and we'll be back hopefully very soon with another webinar in the same series. Thank you very much, and have a good day, everyone.
Thank you everybody.